Call for Ukraine. Call for Ukraine.
Let the melody into your brain.
Call for Ukraine. Let the melody into your brain. Call for Ukraine. NAFO fellas gonna drive you insane.
We're making moves while you're slower than molasses. We're riding deep, chasing donkeys off their asses. We all bosses, stomping schmucks like they're fastest. It's no wonder why the Peters wanna blast us. Can't surpass us, our razors hit the top. Stacking money like a crooked ass cop. Buying rides like a used Dodge Durango. Our whips hit you like that dude named Django. Now let's tango, this new beat is humongous. Burning on your toes like an itchy case of fungus. It's Easter time and the bunnies in among us. Brought to you by our renegade chungus, and we saying
Call for Ukraine. Call for Ukraine. Let the melody into your brain. Call for Ukraine. NAFO fellas gonna drive you insane. Call for Ukraine. Let the melody into your brain. Call for Ukraine. Let the melody into your brain. Call for Ukraine. NAFO fellas gonna drive you insane. Call for Ukraine.
All right, are you guys' eyes burning out of your head now after watching that? Hey Dunk, hey Salt, Chris, Marshall, Stretch, how you guys doing? Did you guys catch the stream earlier on Merck's channel? I was on the panel. It was great. I had a great time. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun. I had to go take a nap. I just woke up. I'm exhausted. And so is my guest, but we're going to do this anyways. I've got a really special guest. We're going to go over advocacy today. You're going to learn how to talk to your representatives. Super important, I feel like. I don't feel like enough people really understand how much weight their voice carries, to tell you the truth. So we're just going to cover some things, have a little nice discussion. Her name's Kim, Lumi2Sea. And yeah, we'll get her on. We'll just start talking about what we're going to go through. We'll cover some basic topics. I'll throw some links periodically into the chat. Maybe at the end I'll link a bunch of resources too. I've got a bunch of links here. Guys, Car for Ukraine fundraiser is started. Last time I checked, me and Canty Luden are in second place. We have a donor box together. I pinned it at the top of the chat there. If you guys want to donate, that would be great. I don't want to be last. I'm super competitive. I know it's for the soldiers, but I don't want to be last. Please, help. Help. Yeah, super excited. It was cool to see Starsky there. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to see him. A couple other people, but really cool. Anyways, let's get started on the advocacy. Let me get a hold of our guests real quick. Oh, I can't hear. Stand by. Stand by. Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you just fine.
All right. Everybody, this is Kim. Say hi to Kim, everybody.
Hello. I'm so glad you guys could be here with us. I'm really excited to tell you what I've been doing for the last year. I do have a little bit of a cold, and so I hope my voice won't go out, but at least we'll get you the information.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself so we get this kicked off.
Okay, I'm hearing a little bit of,
An echo.
oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm a volunteer for the Sunflower Society in Sacramento, and we do rallies every 24th of the month at the capital of California, and do fundraisers for humanitarian aid and for soldiers and everything like that as well. But most importantly, I'm a normal average American. I don't have a political background. I took government just like everybody else did in high school. But I've learned so much along the way the last year through talking to different Ukrainian organizations and different people in the know, and also congressional offices themselves to learn how to advocate better and how the system works and somebody else,
Right. So as far as being everyday, what motivated, how did you get into this? What was the moment, or what factors made you want to start advocating?
Yeah, it was 2022, like during the Olympics, where my cousins who live in Finland were like, we're really worried about what Russia's going to do. And if anybody knows like the history between Finland and Russia, there's a lot of aggression there coming from Russia. And so at that point, Finland wasn't in NATO yet. Obviously, they are now. And so my cousins were really worried, and they said, we got to do something. We got to do something to, stop this or help Ukraine, just do something. So we actually started with Anonymous. We started texting Russians. There was like a texting campaign to give normal Russians just information about what was happening in Ukraine when the invasion started. And that turned into meeting people and gathering donations like medical supplies for soldiers. And like every other American, I just, kind of just believed my country would support Ukraine. We were doing really well. I didn't like that aid wasn't going fast enough, but, we were supporting Ukraine. So just kind of let it be and did what I could on the sidelines and just kind of ignored what was going on in Congress. And then in December, I couldn't ignore any longer because now we had a pause of aid in December 2023. And that's
Right.
kind of when I had to step up,
Yeah, I remember the pause and aid super well. That was tragic what was going on with that. God, that was around the same time that the original guy that sent me the video from the 14 mech passed away, got killed in action.
Right.
So it really hit me hard when that aid passed or was paused. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of took it personal. Kind of blame the Speaker of the House for holding it up on that. So
Right.
yeah, lots of good
Yeah.
reasons. If you could,
Yeah.
let's go over like a quick overview of
Mhm.
Congress.
Sure.
How does Congress work?
So Congress has two bodies. It has the House of Representatives and the Senate. And they both vote on bills. And if the bill passes in both bodies, then it goes to the president to sign. Obviously, right now, that's kind of, difficult. We have a new climate right now. So I'm hoping bills will still be in Congress about Ukraine, but we'll see. We'll see. This is why, we're doing this right now and getting out the information to contact Congress anyway. So states have two senators each. Every state does. They represent everybody in the state, and then representatives in the House of Representatives serve only an area of the state. So it's based on population numbers, and California, being the most populated state, has 52 representatives, where Alaska and Wyoming and a few others only have one representative. But representatives are the direct link to the people. They're easier to contact and get a response from because less people are contacting them. And as I go on today, they're going to be the ones that I cover most.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So knowing that, what can Congress do for Ukraine? Even though I know what you're talking about with the current administration, the bill still having to be signed. How can Congress help Ukraine?
So they can vote on bills. There is a few bills like brewing right now. I don't know if they're going to, if anything is going to happen with them, but they're still there. So Russia being a terrorist state, statements like that. So they can vote on bills and resolutions. If in a committee, like the Foreign Affairs Committee, so basically representatives and senators are in this little side groups and they talk about different things. So the Foreign Affairs Committee would talk about Ukraine. So if you do have a representative in the Foreign Affairs Committee, you'd want to talk about that with them so that they can advocate within their committee. And they can also just advocate in the halls. They can walk around and they can talk to other Congress members and talk about what's important to them. They make a lot of deals there too. Or they can just write letters. So going back to letting Ukraine strike back, that was happening in the last summer and fall.
Yeah.
We were trying to get Ukraine to be allowed to strike into Russia with US weapons anywhere. So we were trying to get our representatives and our senators to write letters to Anthony Blinken and President Biden at the time to lift this, and they did. They ultimately did.
Right. I remember seeing quite a few signatures on the request paper, and I remember going to my representative when he had a town hall and having the same list there for him to sign on to. So yeah, and that seemed to happen. That actually happened shortly after people started advocating for that. Correct?
Yes, very shortly after. It only took a few months.
Right.
Or maybe more like 4 months, but I mean, it was something we didn't think that they would do, but we got it done.
Right. And
you know? Um,
the
Go
amount
ahead.
of people that were probably advocating for that, the amount of silent people behind that, definitely the majority that still supported it but didn't know how to go about doing it, I'd imagine. So
Right.
maybe we could cover why it's important, why we need to contact our Congress members.
Sure, sure. I just want to cover two more things that they can do, just short ones. Show up to events like rallies, public talks, or like anything like that. For Ukraine, you can always ask your Congress people to do that. And also post on social media, make a statement. That's something else we want to, they can do. But yeah, why we need to contact our Congress members. We elect our Congress members and they work for us. Like, we have to remember that they work for us. We need to voice our concerns so they can act accordingly. Will they listen to their constituents, which is us? I don't know. That's a really big question. But you have to keep voicing your opinion. Town halls are crazy right now. I know you've posted a couple videos like
Yeah.
to showcase all the craziness right now. Republicans are putting a pause on them. So that should tell you how much power that we have right now. I mean, that's incredible amount of power. Um, we the people, our average people here in America, outnumber the government, and we need to remember that. It's been said a lot. If enough people stood up all at once, things would change overnight.
Right.
So we have to think about that. And yeah, continue to voice our opinion. Don't think that you're voicing your opinion won't work, because we've seen it work over the last year with Let Ukraine Strike Back and a few other things.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember advocating for that one. And man, I went straight to the town hall. It was emotional for me when I got there. I started telling stories from the front line and,
Right?
stories of the local, community in the area. Um, God, and being at the rallies and seeing, some of the, advocacy go on there and the Ukrainians crying. Just that last one on the,
Yes.
24th, the pastor started crying that came from Ukraine because he's had to bury so many men. And he was
Right.
just pleading to God for help. Um, you know,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
okay. And I'd like to mention that too. If you go to a town hall and if you go or you go to a meeting with your representative, it's okay to break down and cry to show them that you care. Like
I'll do
there's
it.
there's
Yes.
so many people I know. Everybody I talk to, at least the first time when they're advocating for this stuff, it gets emotional, right? Because you're begging your representative
Right.
for help when you get there. You need to make sure it sticks. And those are the memorable moments I feel like.
Yes.
So
And that's what they're looking for, their
exactly.
that personal, what has happened to you? How does this affect you? So yeah, we'll go into that later.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good
I mean, it's a good,
subject.
it's good. I mean, what are they expecting from us? What's Congress looking for from us?
Um, so let me go. Hold on, sorry. Um, so each time we contact Congress, they tally what we're bringing to their attention. So if you're calling in just generally in support of Ukraine, that's going to be one tally. If you're calling it not supporting Ukraine, that's another tally for not supporting Ukraine. And this will be put in a weekly report so that the congressman or woman can see, just what's going on in the district, how people feel. But AOC said something very interesting a couple weeks ago. She said representatives aren't just looking at the numbers in this report. They're also looking for enthusiasm. And this is so important, because one call, one letter, one email, that's just one person who heard something on the news and got mad for a night and wrote or called in. Um, but if everybody's calling in every day, that's sustained enthusiasm. Now they know, like, they better act, or or say something or put out a statement. And your congressman actually just put out a statement a couple weeks ago too, because so many people called, so it does work.
Yeah, it's funny. Every time I call and touch base on a subject, it's like he's personally listening to me every time. By the end of the week, every time I've called by the end of the week, there has been a public statement either to the public or to Congress about the topic I have called on, and it's very flattering to my ego to see that happen. I doubt I'm the only person calling. I know I'm not the only person calling, but
Right.
I feel like for every one person that calls, it's representing 100 people who haven't spoken up about it. Kind of like you're saying,
Exactly.
one person saw something on the news and got mad and voiced their opinion. Kind of like how you get those little surveys on the bottom of a receipt you get when you leave any place you go shopping,
Yes.
and you can leave your feedback. It counts for
Yeah.
every one person that calls. There's 10 others that wanted to and didn't give the time. So I feel that calling has more weight than
Right.
just one voice. You represent more people in your community. Speaking of calling, how do we go about contacting our representatives?
Yeah, so you can go the old-fashioned way, which is writing letters or emails. But honestly, they'll be skimmed. There's very little time in the offices in general for interns and the legislative correspondent in the office who deals with, getting letters and finding out where they go, and responding to them as well. There's very little time. And right now, there's even less time. People are very angry they're not getting responses from their Congress members because there's just everybody's calling about everything right now. So it just leaves very little time. They're going to skim your letter. They're going to find a form letter to send back to you. And I call these swag letters because the same letter I got about Ukraine from my representative last February, somebody just got the same exact one just 1 week ago. So generally, you're not going to get a personal response from letters or emails. So for just the average person, you can still do them. I think they're still really good to do, but calling is better because calling, they have to sit on the phone and listen to you. If you want to have a discussion with them, a back and forth conversation, you can do that as well. But they have to listen to you fully. So, you can call every day. You can call like once a day and have a tally for those once a day. So it's really effective. Also, calls are right now, and they will be tallied this week. Emails might not be tallied for a couple weeks. Letters might be a little
Oh,
bit further out,
okay. Okay.
So doing all three to show that sustained enthusiasm, but calling every day is such a great thing to do.
So you could hit them with the trifecta if you really want to do and just nail them. Not that we're trying
Yes.
to nail them. Also when you're calling, you're probably building a rapport with the people in the office. So, I mean, I would feel that a little, I'm not going to call it interpersonal communication. A little voice to voice helps a lot too. So we talked about how to contact your representatives. What about your senators? What about them? How do we contact senators?
So they're the same, but it's not like with your representative, you'll be able to do some relationship building and have that back and forth on your call. Senators are quick. Sometimes with senators, I just call, I state my name, I state my zip code so they know you live in the district or in the state. And I just tell them just a quick, either thank you for supporting Ukraine or please make sure we still support Ukraine. Just a quick thing. They'll say thank you, and then the call ends because they have to deal with so many more people. And like in a state of California where I am, there's so many people. They just don't have time to talk to everybody. So it has to be that quick.
Right. I've also noticed that when you call certain senators, not all, or certain representatives, that their voicemail, if it goes to voicemail, they have a time limit on how long you can talk. And I got to the
Yes.
point where I actually had to write down different things I was going to say to different Congress in case I got the voicemail, because I knew what time it was, and I'm speed typing. Hi, my name is so-and-so, calling from 9 so-and-so. Just get the information out.
Ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
like 15 seconds. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So speaking of calling, now we know how to get a hold of them. What kind of information should we be sharing with Congress in general, like
oh
overall?
yeah, definitely. I just want to back up a little bit
Sure.
because you mentioned messages. If you don't feel like you can talk to a live person, you can call after hours. Most representatives have their voicemail after hours. Right now, like voicemail is filling up so quickly. So you're going to have to get in there like right when the office closes so that they have, cleared out the voicemail box. You can leave a message. That is always a great way to do that if you're kind of feeling a little nervous. Like we're human beings. It's those first couple calls to my Congress members were nerve wracking for me, honestly, even though, I'm pretty confident in my job and everything, but that was big time. So leave a message, and if you don't feel you can have a conversation. But yeah, back to your question, what kind of information should we be sharing with Congress in general? Um, I like to bring a news story every time I call. I will ask, have you heard about what happened in, Kiev or, just anything around there. Sometimes I'll use Estonia. There was a Russian aggression in the summer where Russia just in the middle of the night cut the buoys between the water border between Russia and Estonia. And so, I would say, have you heard of this? And they would say yes or no. We could either have a conversation at that point, or I can tell them what happened. And then you always want to follow up with an action. Maybe there's a bill in Congress that will help with Russian aggression, saying that there's more than a few bills saying that Russia is a terrorist state. Maybe we want to tell the representative to pay attention to that bill and co-sponsor that bill, or just advocate for it. And when you're mentioning bills, you should ask them to look it up on their computer and point out the important parts. This is where we have to do our job by reading bills a little bit, or, asking people who have read the bill, questions too is okay. Making them aware of congressional hearings. I don't know if you remember, but last July, the Helsinki Commission was speaking on Russian aggression, and I was calling not only my representative to tell them about this, but like all the representatives, yours, mine, all around us, and just to get them to go to this meeting to, learn about Russian aggression. Sorry, I lost my thing
Yeah,
here.
no worries. I actually do remember when that was happening around July.
Yeah. So getting them to go to information, things like that.
Yeah.
One of the really important things is doing research in your own community. Do you have a large Ukrainian community? In Sacramento, California, we're the third largest Ukrainian community in the United States.
Right.
And so when I call, I always talk about that. The other one is defense factories. Defense factories are huge because 70% of around there, Ukraine aid packages, the money stayed here in the United States, went to defense factories to build us new weapons. So we're talking California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, so many. It could be Boeing, Boeing makes weapons. It could be, shipbuilders, buildsubmarines.com They had jobs in all 50 states to build us new submarines. And I think they're still hiring. So Ukraine aid package money helps our local communities. Even in my little district, I have General Dynamics that makes components for weapons, for bombs. And so that creates jobs here. It creates money for our economy, and it's good for America. Um, so those are things that the Congress member will pay attention to, especially if it's bringing money into their own district. Like that's so important. And then friends, family, where's your ties to Ukraine? Do you have family members in countries that border Russia, like me in Finland? I can tell those stories. That makes an impact. Any personal story, any friend you have in Ukraine, something has happened that is, a war crime. Please share those stories. They need to know. And that's kind of what they're looking for. I've heard from many people that's like the number one thing you should share is just personal stories.
Yeah,
and just make it impactful.
so where I am at specifically, in my little area where I am, since I'm in the area of Sacramento, but I'm not close to it. We have a smaller Ukrainian population here, very small. But I went out of my way and I found one of the Ukrainian people who lives here that has a business, and went and talked to her and got her story for her. And basically I said, hey, here's what I'm going to do. Since you're in my community, you are affected by this. I'm going to tell your story to every representative I can. And basically you develop a story. They're going to want their name. Who is it? What do they do? How are they a member of the community? Share their story of how their family was impacted. They're actually from Kharkiv. So it works out really good if you go out there and just meet people. That's next level. A lot of people, maybe you don't feel like you're open like that to go meet people. But I tell you what, it pays off in the long run if you do.
Yeah, and even if you don't know anybody in your community, you can still tell stories from Ukraine. Like I know you're very active on Twitter, and so was I. I won't call it X, but very active on there with the community and NAFO and everything. I've built relationships with people in Ukraine there, and I go around and I ask them, what do you want to tell my representative? Can you give me a statement? And I read these over the phone. I put them in a Word document and I send them to my representative's legislative director. That's a person who helps the congressman form his ideas and what he will do, what he will vote on. So, I get those impact statements and I send them to them. So, and we talk about it. So it's all a good thing.
And how is your rapport with them now that you've made so many communications?
Oh, in my personal representative's office, we're still good. I don't want to say too much there.
That's fine. You don't have to.
I want to keep my relationship with them, but I have been told I do have a Republican representative, so who's always been supportive of Ukraine.
Right.
But I mean, it's just a different climate now.
Yeah.
But I have been told 100% he is still supportive of Ukraine. So if your representative is not, it's still important for you to speak up. Because there's going to be something that happens like the Oval Office that's going to rub somebody the wrong way. And I think everybody is worth talking to, except Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she has a sign outside her door saying that she does not want to interact with anybody from the international scene. So maybe don't do that.
That's great. Backtrack a little bit. I'm going to circle back to one of the talking points. He says this would be a really good talking point. Always bring up the defense factory aspect, even if it's not in their specific district. It brings income in the United States. that
Yes.
the weapons are being made here. So for a Republican representative, if you're in a Republican district, boosting the economy is always a good talking point. So
Yes, for
so
sure.
let's fast forward into the now. Let's
Yes.
what specifically asking should we ask for right now in the current climate? What should we be
Yeah.
talking about with them that we can have an impact with today?
That is such a big question. Like that, that is a question I ask myself daily because we have seen, and this is something to pay attention to. We have seen what happened in the Oval Office. We have seen the vote in the UN where the United States voted for alongside Russia. We've seen a pull of aid, even aid that's sitting in Poland right now, a pause in sending that aid to Ukraine. And then we've seen a pause in sharing intelligence information so that Ukraine soldiers know where Russian soldiers is and everything like that. And then we also saw somebody had said through Reuters, I think it was one of their tips. They were looking at revoking the U for You program, which is United for Ukraine. It's allowed Ukrainians to come here as refugees and be
Right.
protected, revoking their status
Right.
and deporting them. So everything has been walked back. Like we're sending aid again from the last package that we had last April, which is, we need a new one. And we're sharing intelligence again. And it's just kind of like, what's happening with the tariffs. Like we're saying we're going to do something and then we take it back. We're saying we're going to, so it's a really hard situation. So that's why I think our messages need to be maybe more broad. So the most important message we should share is news stories every day, right? But above all, like we need to stand with Ukraine. We need to stand on the right side of history. We don't need to stand on Russia. Like that's crazy to me. And then really focusing on things that and this is the key words, a just and lasting peace. So these are things like that are non-negotiable. Returning Ukraine's stolen children.
Right.
And,
That's a big one for
that's,
me.
yeah. Giving them their occupied land back. Security agreement. Like one thing about the Oval Office, what Zelensky said, like I know from my family in Finland and stories, that have happened. Russia doesn't keep its promises ever. So they do need a security agreement. And a clear path to NATO is a good one because Russia never plays by the rules and they're going to invade again. So sharing news stories and backing up this message that we need a just and lasting peace. A good way to get like up-to-date information for different bills and different talking points is to look for an American Ukrainian organization in your area, but also the American Coalition for Ukraine. They are in DC and they're just have so many Ukrainian organizations under their wing that are all American organizations. Right now, they're doing they're getting ready to do the Ukraine Action Summit in DC. So I highly suggest that everybody checks that out. And again, that's American Coalition for Ukraine. Basically, April 8th and 9th, people are going to be going to DC to talk to all of the representatives and all of the senators and hold meetings. For somebody like me who wants to be involved but doesn't have the time to go to DC, I'm doing it from home. I'm doing a virtual meeting I'm actually doing mine sooner. I'm doing mine next Tuesday. So, it's a good thing to get behind if you want more information or see if you can do your meetings virtually. If you want to get on board with that, definitely go to their website and look up the Ukraine Action Summit. And then Razum, Razum for Ukraine. Razum means together in Ukrainian. And I probably didn't pronounce that right. Do you know the right pronunciation?
Razzle.
Razum. Thank you. They are so wonderful at putting out messages on what we should ask for from Congress. Very up to date. Definitely follow those both.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot of good information there. I want to kind of circle back to how our voices can be more impactful. How can we have a more impactful conversation with our representatives to where they know we're representing more than us? How can we multiply our voice?
So, so building a relationship for sure. For sure. Like, you think about when you're going into like a coffee shop in the morning, if you get coffee every morning and you're starting to build a relationship with that, the person taking your order, right? You see them every day. You might ask personal questions or ask how they're doing, weekend plans. I pretty much do the same thing. And I read them really well because, if you don't have somebody, if somebody sounds bored on the phone, like I don't even try. I just give them my message and that's it. But if they're like, hello, how are you? And, I share my news story and they're like, no, I haven't heard of that, and then I'm going to get in there and I'm going to ask their name. I'm going to take notes and on who I talk to and any little information that I've gotten. It's been a very unique thing over the year, talking with my representative's office to getting to know these people. We talk about vacations now, we talk about birthdays. We talk about, my son has had a relationship with one of the interns in my representative's office and sent emails back and forth. He's advocating for sharks. Just building this relationship, asking questions on how things work in the office, who is who, and kind of just asking them, how their day is, and then getting into these really wonderful conversations where I'm starting to get more information. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they get to open up, and at the end of the day, they put their pants on the same way we do. I mean, they probably got the same problems we do. It's we're all human here, right? And they're just one person that has has the power to represent us because we gave it to them. So they have to represent us, and I feel that having a positive rapport with them as well is super important because they're not gonna.
Yes.
You don't walk into your Starbucks and scream at the lady because you ordered it extra hot but not too hot and it wasn't right. I mean, come on, So
or if Starbucks made a big, thing that everybody wanted to cancel them, you're not going to take it out on your barista.
Right.
Yeah.
I told you less foam next time, god damn it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So no.
Yeah. And also it might be good to never give up your political party. They can look up how you register. They're not going to look up any more than that, just to see what way you vote,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's public record.
So you want to kind of stay neutral in these two. You don't want to go in there and be like, God damn it, Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene. You want to kind of stay neutral no matter what, even if it's a Democratic representative, correct?
Exactly. Now, if you get such a relationship, because there has been times where I have asked, have you seen Marjorie Taylor Greene in person? We have. I won't give up what was said in there, but it was a great conversation to have, and there was a lot of laughter. Like, that was, So it depends on how good of a relationship builder you are. Um, but, personally, with my contact in the office, we have talked about those things off the record, like person to person. So
So if he doesn't get reelected
there's
this
a few
next
of them.
midterm, I am going to hold you on those conversations, and then we will blackmail everybody in my chat for donations to my fundraiser to hear what the rest of that story is.
Right.
So shoot,
Someday.
a lot of good
Oh,
information there. Yeah, what else you got?
yeah, I want to add a few more things. Don't ruin your credibility. Make sure the information you have is correct, because if you continue to call with misinformation, they're not going to take you seriously. Um, and then follow up constantly. I just want to check in again? Does my rep have a decision on the bill yet? Or has he made any statements? Or, has his view changed? And the most important one, because things are so heavy right now, if your representative is supportive of Ukraine, or your senator is, say thank you. Call to just say thank you. Maybe put one phone call a week to say thank you, because that goes a long way, especially right now when they're very tired. A lot of these people taking the phone calls aren't being able to eat their lunch. I mean, there's a very huge influx of calls. So saying thank you is very important. And as you know, like at the rallies, we call with the live crowd. So anytime you can call and say thank you and leave your representative a message saying thank you with a crowd is so impactful, and they love it.
Well, that's awesome. That's a really good call out there too. I actually remember. I don't even remember who it was. I was calling Texas to thank people that were standing for Ukraine on the other side of the aisle during when the aid was after the aid bill got passed. I believe that was in April. It was signed in April.
Right.
And it was super important for me
And
just to let them know that I'm way over here, and I really appreciated what they did way over there.
Yeah, definitely. They say to only call your own representative, but I break that rule to say thank you, like you
Right.
did. I think
Right.
that's important. They love it. The other thing too is like when those congressional hearings are going on, I'm like, I'm just giving you this information. You guys should check it out. Yeah, that this hearing will happen, and you should send a representative to go from the office to go view it. So I think personally, those are the two times that you can break that rule.
All right. Well, that's a really good talk on advocacy. Now that we've kind of hit the last part, thank you. One thing I don't think we did. Oh, we did cover. Expect a follow up. Always give a time frame for your follow up. Say, hey, I'd like a follow up by this date. If you give them a specific date, maybe that's not going to happen because they're so overwhelmed right now. But very good point. What other ways, other than advocacy, what other ways are there that we can fight for Ukraine?
Yeah, can I just back up really quick
Sure.
too? To make more of an impact on your representative is form a group. Form a
Oh,
group or
yes,
join
yes,
an
yes, yes, yes.
organization. Yeah, because if you do this, like I'm from Sunflower Society of Sacramento. So when I'm calling, my calls are more important. That's such a funny thing to say. But they are. If my emails, and I write that volunteer for Sunflower Society of Sacramento, that is going to cause the legislative correspondent to forward it to the legislative director. When normal emails just from everyday people are not going to get forwarded, because businesses, organizations, and groups are more important. And you can do this yourself. You can start a group in your district.
It doesn't have to be a
And
big
you can
group,
do
right?
anything.
It doesn't have to be a big group either, right? Just a couple of people.
Right, exactly. Call yourself something. You're starting a group. This is a grassroots movement. And you can call with that name because you are a group. And this is important. You're calling every day, you're showing enthusiasm. Um, so, yeah. And then if you want to hold rallies, even if it's just you, even if it's just you on the corner. I've done it before with my son. Even if it's just you with a few different people. There is a man in DC who has stood on the corner and since the very beginning of the invasion, every day. And sometimes people are with him and sometimes people are not with him, you know. But that's always been impactful. Um, yeah. And then holding meetings with representatives too. I wanted to just talk a little bit about that.
Of course.
I've had 3 this year since right before. I think my first one was like April 4th of last year. And I've had virtual meetings with the legislative director. I've had a meeting face to face with my congressman. And then I've had another meeting with a staff member, and I'm about to have another meeting on Tuesday with a staff member as well. Holding meetings and sitting down and having conversations is so important. All you need to do is contact a scheduler, find 2 or 3 people to come with you, ask how much time you have, let them know if you want to do it virtual or in person. You can go online to house.gov and see the schedule if your congressman is going to be in town or not in town, to see if you can meet with them in person. But generally, you're going to get about between 15 and 30 minutes, depending on how much time they have. So you just go in there, everybody picks a different topic, and you have so much time to talk. You just have to plan the meeting accordingly, and just leave room for some back and forth conversation. But that's so impactful to do, especially if you have that group.
So I think a good call out for that too is also knowing who your representative is. Like, it doesn't take much to type their name into Wikipedia and check out their background, their history. Are they a devout Christian? What are their personal interests? How can you formulate a relationship when you get in there? I'm sure going in and busting a JD Vance couch joke isn't going to be the greatest thing if they go to church every Sunday.
Exactly. And I know that Mark vote like last year, last fall, he posted the American Coalition for Ukraine, the Ukraine Action Summit, like what was that, Information Day meeting. So that would have been, I want to say around September 22nd or 23rd. Don't quote me on that, but if you can go back to his video, it shows you the right and wrong way to act in a meeting, and it's hilarious. They did it really well.
Oh, maybe I'll find that, do a reaction video on it. That sounds like some epic content.
Definitely. I think they talked about somebody coming in drunk once. I mean, somebody did that. So it's really a great video to learn about this more. Yeah, and then you had asked.
What other ways can we support Ukraine other than advocating? I mean, advocating obviously is probably the easiest way we can all do it. I mean, like you said, a lot of people are going to feel uncomfortable about this the first time. It gets easier throughout time. Eventually, then once you build a rapport, it's like calling a family member. But that's one thing we can do, and it takes 10 to 15 minutes a week to do. What else can we do? What other ways? What's the biggest ways we should be fighting for Ukraine right now? Let's say we just can't donate every day or every week.
Right. Fight propaganda. We should want to find the right information anyway. Any way that you can fight propaganda and get to the truth is good. This could be reading bills on congress.gov. Watch congressional hearings and other things. Instead of watching like normal news, watch C-SPAN, because that's just what's going on in Congress. This will help you do the calls better when you know what's going on. And just go directly to the sources like that. That's really important. Reaching out to other news sources outside of our country. Ukraine has a few, like Kyiv Independent, and things like that too. Poland does as well. Easy to translate and just kind of, get the right information. Memes are funny. I love them so much. But at the same time, like, post the truth too. Comment the truth because that's important to do. Because there could be somebody I see quite often when people are commenting, people are asking very genuine questions and are just like, slapped with a meme, you know what I mean? Because, but then I get into conversations with that people and see they don't understand. So you could change people's minds that way a little bit at a time.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then go to Ukraine rallies and events. Please do
yes.
that. I sorry to interrupt you there.
No, go for it. That's super important.
I don't know if anybody has viewed all of the rallies that have happened all over the world on Saturday, on March 15th. Serbia was massive. Massive. I mean, it was Serbia, the government said that there was 100,000 people, but independent other sources says there was over 300,000 people. And that's not bad for a country of just under 7 million people.
Mm-hmm.
We have 340 million people here in the United States. And just go search out those pictures of what happened in Serbia for their protest. And it will amaze you. Like, we could do this here, go to protest.
To on the Serbia part, I actually have friends from Serbia. They were foreign exchange students that worked for me, Sasha and Helena, and they were down there marching too. And the videos I saw, it was packed.
Yeah.
And it was, and
Crazy.
we're talking, they're really well off kids. They're not in a bad spot. They're not protesting because of bad conditions. Serbia is a really rich country. If you go there, they have really high standards as far as, I think they have a very low poverty rate there too, but they're fed up. They're fed up of the corruption and the Russian-backed government, and they're expressing their mind. And it was so beautiful. I messaged my friend and told him, man, this is so heartwarming to see. And I haven't messaged him back, but I wanted to tell him, like, you're setting the example as far as protesting goes.
Right.
Everybody was out on the streets.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've seen the same in Georgia. There, at one point, there was 80% of their population. And the whole population of Georgia is like 2 Sacramento counties, just a little bit above that. And to have 80% of their population out this summer in a protest was crazy, So kind of like, we should kind of follow in their footsteps with some of these things. So it's just completely amazing. So show up to rallies, show up to events, and they're fun. You learn so much culture, or if you're Ukrainian, I know it means so much to a few here that I love personally, and to go to these events and get a taste for their country. It's just like, anytime I see somebody making finished food, I'm like, oh, I'm so there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, rallies are important. Protests are important. The other things you can do, this is kind of old school, but it's happening a lot. Writing letters to the editors and newspapers. Not only are you voicing your opinion, but you can influence what they write on. So if you bring a story, just tell them about it and why you want them to report on it. That can influence them.
You're reminding me of when, I think it was Ashley came up and talked to me, and I was an American there. She was so excited to speak to an American there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Okay, so shout out to Ashley Sharp from Sacramento, ABC News, because she is amazing. She's amazing. In the LA fires, she was driving around, showing people their homes if they were still, standing or if they had burned. Like she spent several nights doing that, and she shows up every time to our rally to just report on it and has the best reports. Definitely such a nice lady. Um, yeah, calling the news and getting them to rallies. I mean, that's such a good point. So glad you brought that up. That's important. You know, we want to reach the public. That supporting Ukraine is important. And then making a flyer and hanging it up with information. I know somebody, another NAFO, who made these information signs about where the Ukraine package money goes. And so I printed them out and I hung them at all the grocery stores, all the community boards, all the, you know, and some of them stayed up for quite a while. So it's just giving information. And then use your talents. Use your talents. If you can make a video, make a video. If you can speak to people, speak to people. Go to your library and ask them if you know you could host a talk about Ukraine or a storytelling time about Ukraine. You know, if you have that talent, do it. Fundraise, collect donations. I know somebody in my town that does bake sales. You know, just different things like that. Use your talents, and it'll not only fill your heart, but you know, they'll fill everybody else's heart too, and you'll get the information out of there. And
No
speak to your
joke.
family and friends.
No joke. I seriously had someone donate 2 big bricks of fudge to me and wanted me to sell. Yeah, and I put them on Facebook. And yeah, I'm trying to slang fudge to get donation money.
Yeah.
If you go out there and you actually just talk to people, they are willing to help in whatever their skill set is, and it's a beautiful thing. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead and continue.
No, that's wonderful. Like that's wonderful. Anything you can do. Like I know somebody who does print work, and so they've been doing a lot of print work for Sunflower Society. You know, I know some people in one of the towns between us that, you know, they printed out a whole bunch of signs that say "Stand with Ukraine," and they passed them out to neighbors, and neighbors put them in their windows. It was amazing. So there's just little things you can do like that, you know, or hey, you know, get a sticker, slap it on your car, you know, right now. Show other people it's okay, you know, to support Ukraine, and supporting Ukraine is supporting America too, you know. We should want to spread democracy through the world, and we need to keep our promises. So, you know, talking to your family and friends about it, you know, instead of staying silent to keep the peace at the family table at Easter, you know, it might be good to just go in there and say, you know, the information you said, you know, I have some other information I can give you to show you, like,
That'll make
you know,
an interesting conversation over Thanksgiving.
yeah, definitely. Like my family knows not to bring up Ukraine around me. And I mean, most of them are very supportive, but the others,
Well, mine does too, because I don't talk to them anymore. They definitely know not to bring it up.
yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, you know, speaking of keeping promises, I mean, I've already taken an hour of your time. If you want to wrap it up, and I know you have other obligations at this time, is there anything closing statement you want to tell everybody?
Just be bold and be brave, because we are on the right side of history. And you know, I went to a Ukrainian meeting yesterday, and a lot of the people there brought up about how that damn Mimi for Ukraine holding back Russia from the rest of Europe is so true. And, you know, I lost family ancestors in 1927 to genocide from the Russian people or the Russian government. Little known, but the ingrained Finns, who were at the time a pocket of Finnish population, in Russia when Russia had been given that land. You know, I mean, this is what Russia does. They kill people. They send them off to camps in Siberia. They take the children and they put them in schools so that they will only learn Russian history and Russian language, and it's cultural genocide. So we cannot find my great-grandmother's family at all. They are erased from the earth. So we need to remember these things. Stay brave. Remember our promises to Ukraine, and keep getting our government to be on the right side of history and don't side with Russia.
Awesome words. Awesome words. You had me reflecting, because I've finished this as well. You had me reflecting back on what my grandma told me a long time ago about Russia and about their influence on the world. And she told me straight up a long time ago, our government is controlled by the mafia. That the Russian mob is already there. And that resonates to me to this day. That we're talking, I was a kid. She knew this stuff. She knew this stuff when I was a child. I'm 40. I'm 40 something years old now, and she knew it when I was a kid, and it just resonates in my brain every day. So thank you for bringing that. Thank you for being here today. I know everybody in the chat. You can. I don't know if you're watching the chat, but everybody loves you in the chat. They're so glad you came today, Kim. So thank you.
I love them. Please continue to fight with me. I mean, that's the most important. I feel so lonely out here sometimes because I really want Americans to stand up, you know? Please stand up with me. And I don't know if anybody has any burning questions. I have a few more minutes. If not, that's cool.
Well, yeah, if you guys throw some questions in the chat for Kim, we'll read them off, guys. No way, Chungus, you're 21. I am not 21, dude. And I'm glad. I was making terrible decisions at 21. Well, I still do, but not in the same manner.
Right. Yeah.
Great stream. Thank you, Dunk. Guys, let's take a peek here at this fundraiser. We are at 6 donations on my fundraiser, but we are at 1,172 euros. Shout out to Blonde Bombsheller, dropped $500 on a donation. Thank you, Blonde Bombsheller.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
And she's moderating with the big stick. My moderator, she's modding with the big stick, and she dropped $500 on my fundraiser. That is epic.
What's her name?
Blonde Bombsheller.
Oh my gosh, we got a W Bombsheller in the chat.
Huge donation, huge. I got 6 donation, guys. I'm gonna keep doing this. We got 6 weeks of this, and I like I said, I am dead determined. Along with Canty Luden, we shared a donor box because we have smaller platforms. We shared a donor box, so we're going to try to combine together to get our own truck. That's what we want to do.
Awesome.
Let's see. Do I got any questions here, guys? Grassroots organizing, opposing tyranny, doesn't flow. Just thinking about the meaning behind each way it's said. Yeah, grassroots is kind of how it all starts. I mean, look at Euromaidan. You know, Euromaidan started a revolution with grassroots. I kind of feel like our American Revolution was grassroots. You know, so we can have
that town between us. Like that little town between us is totally grassroots. Like they don't even have a name yet. Like they will soon, but it's just a bunch of like there's 10 people getting together and printed out that signs and a whole neighborhood. Like it's almost every other house that has Stand with Ukraine in their windows. Like, you know what I mean? It's grassroots is powerful. And then more and more come, you know?
I am Groot. Grassroots, I am Groot. I love it. So what do we got here for donations, guys? We got Michael Robinson, 52. Thank you for all you do, Chungus. For the boys, Slava Ukraini. Stretch. Thank you, Stretch. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve Sane. Thank you. 70. Oh my God. You guys are just amazing. Spider Fate, threw it out there. We got Blonde Bombsheller, Canty. And from the friends of 519 euros from the friends of Chungus, who want nothing more than complete Ukrainian victory. Thank you. Guys, you guys are 6 donations, and I think we're in second place. We're in second place.
Wow.
And we have huge
That's
names.
amazing.
We have huge names on this fundraiser. And we're in second place right now, guys. Can we keep it going? Please. Please, can we keep it going? This is amazing. What else you guys got? You got any questions? How did Kim get into politics? Good question. How did you get into politics?
Oh, well, it was at Pause and Aid. It was at Pause and Aid because like my whole life, like my dad and his dad, my grandpa were so into politics. And so they always wanted to talk to me about it. And I always found it so boring. Like anytime I could run away, I would. But I still had to sit and listen to that stuff sometimes. So it did get into my brain. I got a little bit more education than, at school. But it wasn't until that Pause of Aid. And then I was looking around to see, like, what can I do? And I was looking at the pro-Palestinian people and what they were doing. And I was thinking, I could use that as an example, like they were getting the city council in Chicago to pass that, we want a ceasefire statement. And I'm like, we could do that for Ukraine. So I started working on my city council. I got invited to coffee by one of them. And then I threw rocks everywhere and whatever hit, like, I was just trying to find people in my area. So I was searching Sacramento and Ukraine. And that's how I found you.
True story. On X even, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Or Twitter.
And I'm like, hi. Yeah. And then I found, the DC people. I found Sunflower Society. I found, or you hooked me up with them. I found American Coalition for Ukraine. I found Community for Ukraine on X. If you guys could go to Community for Ukraine on X, it's like a heart with Ukraine colors. They have weekly meetings that you could do where it's like a think tank. So you go into these meetings, you learn a lot about politics and how to fight for Ukraine. So I did that weekly. I did that 4 times a week at one point because there's literally a meeting every day on different things. And then I got invited to do meetings with the American Coalition for Ukraine and then Razum as well. So I just started to, talk to all these people at a rapid pace and read and get into reading bills. I talked about having a relationship with the representative's office. So with my contact in my representative's office, I would sit and read part of these bills, or they would go home with the bill. I would go home with the bill. We'd talk about it the next day. And then I'd call other representatives' offices to see what they thought of the bill. So any way that I can educate myself, I did. And that's why I say, like, if I can do it, you guys can do it. It's, you just gain knowledge along the way and hit up those organizations because they'll show you the way.
I can't express that enough. If I can do it, you can. If you guys knew how much Kim and I both, we talk a lot off of other than Ukraine stuff because we're friends. How much we juggle in our how much we juggle in our personal lives and still are able to fundraise, advocate, support Ukraine, show up to rallies. You guys would be like, okay, no wonder they're like firing on one brain cell shared between the both of them tonight. Even though I think this has been an awesome interview, but we're both extremely exhausted all the time because we are on maximum effort mode. Like if you guys knew, and then compound that with personal life, right? Everybody has personal life problems. You can do it. And I'll tell you what, supporting Ukraine, putting in the effort, calling your reps, advocating, going to the rallies, it's like going to church. It's bringing your soul back into your body and helping you maintain other aspects of your life. Because I know everybody in this chat is just as passionate as we are about supporting Ukraine. So I think we'll leave off from there, Kim. I don't have any more questions. I threw up the community for Ukraine and in the stream here, so people, if they still have a shitter account, they can follow it. But we'll go from there. There's also, maybe we can
Awesome.
there's an org link here. I'll throw this up in the chat as well. Thank you for your time. It is 8:15, and I'm going to wrap it up here in a little bit. But yeah, thank you again for coming. I'm super stoked. I'm super glad that we had this. And I hope to do it again. Maybe we can do it again sometime really soon.
Definitely. Thank you again for hearing my spiel. I know I talked your ears off, but I hope I gave you all the information and you can take something from what I said and just go. And I'm cheering you guys on.
Awesome. Okay, Kim, thank you again, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Good night.
Okay, bye. All right. Hey, did we learn anything? Did you guys learn anything from us talking? That was the whole point of this. I wanted this to be a more educational. I wanted you guys to get a little more comfortable with having a voice, because not everybody's going to be as comfortable as me and Kim. Some people are more comfortable. But I think it's super important to realize that just because you have a Democratic representative, just because they support Ukraine, doesn't mean there's other people out there that aren't calling and saying we don't support Ukraine. So it is super important for you guys, everybody in this chat, to call and to reciprocate your passion and desire to see Ukraine a sovereign nation. And one thing that keeps getting brushed aside, because a lot of people have given up. I'm not giving up. And I just saw a report earlier that Elon Musk cut funding to the organization that was looking for the stolen Ukrainian children. I think every time that you call, make that a tally point. There are 20,000 stolen Ukrainian children in Russia somewhere. That's families broken. 20,000 stolen children. And I've noticed also when speaking even to, let's say you're not calling your representative, it's a good way to bring that up. Bring it up with your, I know everybody's got a MAGA somebody in one of their social media posts that went to school with them or whatnot. I've noticed if you tug on the heartstrings a little bit, they're soft like cupcakes inside. That's a good talking point as well. If they try to give you that war is hell bullshit, and I don't know what to tell you on that one. I still haven't figured that one out yet. But I have noticed that talking to some of them, I'm having an impact behind the scenes, and they've given it away to me in small little indicators. I'm not saying they've changed their lifestyle and fully support, but they are coming to me with questions now when they don't have understanding. For instance, this hella racist dude I went to school with. Oh, I'm not going to call him hella. Yeah. He was pretty racist in school. He tagged me in some shit and wanted my opinion. And I was just like, I didn't know he wanted my opinion. I thought he was just trying to show me some shit to get me pissed. And I reshared it. I'm like, I'm resharing this crap. I'm going to give my opinion then. He's like, no, I really wanted to hear what you had to say about it. I'm like, wait, what? You wanted to hear what my opinion is? Keep in mind, this is like, if I'm making a comparison on a scale of MAGA, 9 out of 10 MAGA, I can only think of one person that's worse, and I'm getting to him too. So there's ways to get it through, at least in the back of the head, especially now that Trump has reinstituted aid. I'm not saying you have to be friends with him, but like was said earlier in the stream, we have in Mercado stream, I believe it was Ivan said we have a chance to plant a seed, and I think that needs to be done. Yeah, if you can get him to donate to my fundraiser, buy a car for Ukraine official fundraiser, that would be great too. That would be more than great. That would be amazing. Wait, how did I go down to 5? Okay, that was a glitch. I refreshed and went down. Total fundraisers at what, $9,764 in one day, guys. I know Merck dropped it was a big chunk from, I believe it was Bill. Bill dropped a big chunk on that, but guys, we're doing pretty good. I'm gonna make this a shorter stream. I'm gonna wrap it up today. Shorter stream today. I'm gonna try to get a stream in tomorrow to really push for the fundraiser. We'll talk more about fundraiser. Today I wanted to be solely focused on advocacy. I want you guys to have this. Share it out, please. Whatever it takes, share it out, save it, like it, comment afterwards, go back to it, and keep this. Remember, call every week. Call, write, whatever it takes. Organize. If you have small little organization groups, I think that's the biggest part you can do, is having a little organization group, even if it's a local community support Facebook page with a group of like 3 or 4 people. I feel like that's super important, that you just have that little representation. Then you could organize something. You could say, hey, we're calling on this day, and hold them to it. Did you call? Tag them. Did you call? Make sure they call, because people are lazy. Honestly, it's human nature. You know, we'll find the easiest way to make it up the hill. So just keep the pressure on them. Have a voice, guys. And again, if you could, I've got it pinned on the top here. Please donate to my fundraiser for Car for Ukraine. I'm super stoked. I had the opportunity today to hang out with some big dogs. Operator Starsky was on there. I'm hanging out with Merck on there. We had a bunch of other people, even smaller channels. CANT and I were on there. Philip Ittner. That was amazing. I had an amazing time earlier. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. Check out Merck's stream if you didn't. And that's really all I got, guys. Just keep up the fight. You know, I'm super glad you guys came and saw this stream today. But we got a lot of work to do. We absolutely have a ton of work to do. And the only way it's going to get easier is if we keep the pressure up and make it harder on our representatives. We absolutely have to keep it up. We have to keep pushing them. They have to be our voice. They have to be as fired up as we are. They have to be sitting there on an oversight committee wondering where the fuck Elon Musk is. And what he is doing. And why he isn't there. We have to have more people out there speaking up. However, whatever manner it really takes. Whatever they're comfortable doing. We got to get our reps out there and voicing it for us. Did I miss anything else? Did I tell you I got a fundraiser going? I got a fundraiser going through Car for Ukraine, my own donor box. It's pinned in the chat. I don't care if it's like a $4 donation or a $5 donation. It would mean the world to me. And that's it, guys. I'm not gonna torment you with another outro video of what I have. So I will just talk to you all later. Thank you for showing up. Have a wonderful evening. Oh, one more thing. About 7 minutes, Canty Luden is about to start a stream, guys. Go. I haven't figured out how to raid yet. I gotta look and see why I don't have raid set up yet. Canty is about to stream. 8:30, I believe, is what I saw. Canty, 8:30 in 7 minutes. Canty Luden. Here, I'm a blast him over here. Here, go here. He's in my donor box as well. Okay, go subscribe to him. He has 371 subscribers. We can do better than that. And he's just as passionate. You saw it today if you watch Merck's stream. He's got a big heart just like me. Go show him some love, please, guys. That's all I got.